Hi, my name is Sarah Kohler. I'm a speech pathology and audiology major. I chose this topic because I have known about air pollution in China for quite some time now and wanted to know more information. I want to start out by talking about the conditions in China and how they measure air pollution. AQI is Air Quality Index, which measures 5 air pollutants on a scale from 0 to 999. The highest in China as of March 18th was 168, considered unhealthy, and figures have risen as high as 750 in the past or hazardous. PM 2.5 concentration identifies fine particulate matters less than 2.5 micrometers, which can be inhaled and deposited in the bloodstream. For most of China, the air quality is considered moderate or unhealthy for sensitive groups on this scale, but there are pockets of the northern and eastern coast which have unhealthy air quality. China also deals with extreme smog, which is worse in the northern coal-producing regions and heaviest in the wintertime because of less wind and people use coal as a heat source, which increases the pollution. This picture shows the PM 2.5 concentration estimate in January of 2018. And as you can see, most of China is red or dark red, which is considered an unhealthy or hazardous air quality. These pictures show the density and extent of the smog in the northern regions of China. It's so thick that it can be seen by NASA satellites in space. There are two major contributors to the air pollution in China, first being motor vehicle emissions, which contribute to 70% of air pollution in Beijing. It emits four major air pollutants and creates a chemical reaction called hydroxymethane sulfonate, which creates that thick wintertime smog and allows the air pollution to persist regardless of the cuts to sulfur emissions, which scientists originally believed created that smog. Coal is the largest source of air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, and it's responsible for 40% of the fine particulate matter. China burns more coal annually than all other countries combined, and in the coal producing regions, the particulate matter concentration is 3 to 9 times the standard. Air pollution caused China to lose 6.5% of its GDP between 2000 and 2010, and $38 million in revenue from premature death and loss of food production in 2018. However, combating air pollution also comes at a cost. Too many districts attempted to switch from coal to natural gas at the same time in 2018, resulting in shortages and high prices. Alternative energy solutions, such as gas and electricity, are upwards of 3 times more expensive than coal, which is not financially feasible for poor regions. China's economy relies heavily on coal. China contributes 46% of the global production and 51% of the global demand. So, although coal is the major contributor to the air pollution, eliminating it will affect the economy. Poor air quality has allowed for political change to begin. In Beijing, residents started to leave the area in such a high capacity, the government was forced to enact strict emissions policies to keep people in the area. The government has a history of censoring the extent of pollution. They deny public protests, which prevents awareness from spreading. The Great Firewall controls the internet and stops information from entering the country. In 2015, the documentary Under the Dome highlighted the devastating effects of the smog in China and criticized the government's role. However, after 200 million hits on Chinese websites, the government took the documentary offline. Some accused the government of not acknowledging the problem at all. Earlier pollution efforts were unsuccessful because of low enforcement, and the government is often criticized for prioritizing the economy over the health of its citizens due to its dependence on coal. Air pollution was linked to an estimated 1.6 million deaths per year in China. In children, poor air quality results in lower respiratory infections, low fetal and childhood growth, and developmental delays. It causes stroke, heart attack, asthma, lung cancer, COPD, and emphysema. It often results in miscarriage, cognitive decline, and premature death. The Chinese government has begun to implement policies to help combat air pollution. China placed limits on coal usage and eventually banned household coal use in some areas. The government shut down coal mines that were the most pollutant and started to replace coal heaters with electric. China promised to lower PM levels in coal by 2020, peak carbon emissions by 2030, and increase non-fossil fuels. The government designated 2.5 trillion RMB on renewable power through 2020. The China 4 standards require better filtering in cars and will be in effect nationally by July 2020. The government suspended 500 car models for not meeting fuel economy standards. Interestingly, the coronavirus has contributed to a significant decline in nitrogen dioxide over China due to the economic slowdown within the country. China continues to partner with organizations such as the World Bank, which helps manufacturers financially switch to cleaner solutions, and the EPA, which works to track air pollution and help create environmental laws. This picture shows the significant drop in nitrogen dioxide following the coronavirus from January to February in 2019. China's air pollution ultimately affects the United States. Pollutants reach the U.S. through the westerlies, creating a decline in air quality with dust, black carbon, and acid rain. 21% of Chinese export emissions is to the U.S., but does the United States play a role in air pollution in China? American multinational corporations encourage industry, which is a major polluter in China. The U.S. relies heavily on Chinese manufacturing for its products, allowing air pollution to continue. The United States dropped out of the Paris Agreement in 2017, which may give China the initiative too as well, and potentially jeopardize future global initiatives. These are the websites I use. Thanks for listening.